Today I'm looking at the South Korean horror film Voice, which is actually number 4 in a series of films about all-girls schools in South Korea that have problems with either ghosts, curses, or people dying a lot. The whole sequence of films began back in 1998 with a film called Whispering Corridors. That began what turned out to be a trilogy. It was followed up by Memento Mori, and then the last film in the trilogy was called Wishing Stairs. They then came along with Voice, and there is yet one more in this series of haunted girls' schools in South Korea, and it's called A Blood Pledge. I've ordered that film. I will be watching it hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and I will be reviewing it as and when I've finished watching the DVD. Now, there is some disagreement between myself and Meg, my daughter, about exactly which one of these is the best. All the films mentioned have something really great to say for themselves. Whispering Corridors is actually her favorite, followed closely, or if not tied, with Memento Mori. I quite like Memento Mori, but my favorite will always be Wishing Stairs, mainly because of a lot of the FX that went into turning one of the characters into somebody completely different. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I have not reviewed either of these films, or actually any of these films, and probably will do so in the very near future. Meg and I talked. Now, in Voice, which was actually made in 2005, you've got a couple of ghosts, a music teacher with a tragic past, and a girl who dies from the worst paper cut you could possibly imagine. All in all, the film follows a lot of the same formula that the other films use, in that there are two friends who have a bit of a falling out, there are outside influences, and the film is actually a little bit confusing. I've watched it probably about 4 times now, and it was not until watching it earlier today that I realized that one of the main characters in the film was related to a ghost that had died earlier in the movie. I don't know why it took me so long to work it out. Don't know why it took me so long to recognize the familial resemblance. But it was there, and I just flat out missed it. So if you're like me and you get caught up in the storyline too much on one side and forget to look for all the little threads, you may be a little confused by the time the movie ends. I know I was. Again, after 4 times watching it, there was still a little bit of confusion as to exactly what was going on at the very tail end of the film. But suffice to say, it's along the same lines as the other movies. There are parts in the film that are humorous. And again, it's not horror as in scream in your face type horror. It's like the other films in the fact that it can be creepy, suspenseful. It's sort of a cross between a mystery and a thriller and a suspense film. There is horror in it, obviously, and there are some bits that are downright creepy. It does resemble the other films an awful lot. In fact, if you've seen Memento Mori, which I believe was filmed in 2002 or 1999, one or the other, if you've seen that one, this new film will seem very formulaic. In fact, it sort of resembles a lot of the things that happened in the previous film. The kids screaming and running from the school. It just seems too familiar. But again, these are immensely popular films. They have a cult following, and I would recommend watching it. I would also go so far as to say it doesn't matter what sequence you watch them in. These are not sequels. They're more just following the same sort of storyline. When you watch Whispering Corridors, there's no connection between that film and Memento Mori that comes next. What I will say is, this does feel a bit more like sort of a sequel to Memento Mori in the fact that lesbianism figures into the plot line. And again, if I do the review for Memento Mori, I will mention some of the problems they had with their ideas of utilizing a lesbian plot line or plot thread in their film. But the bottom line is, it is a crackingly good film. well worth watching. And again, along the lines of the other films in this South Korean girls' school horror thing, which is the best way I can think to put it. Another thing that I will say is when you watch these things, and again, if you watch any of the Korean films that deal with school in that country, it makes you very glad that you didn't go to school there. Wow, those people are a wee bit rough on their students. Let's just say that. So again, another one to look out for. Watch it if you can. Let me know what you think of it. And until the next time, keep watching the films and have fun. Cheers.